You have fire in your gut? Okay, we're here for a reason, to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast.
And welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of the Shaving Points podcast. My name is Jayden May, joined as always by my co-host Quentin Crisco. And we are back.
We are back.
After a couple of week hiatus. We did the Christmas, we did the New Year's, and now we're back.
And we still put out model picks every week. Miles, it was chugging along last week. I think it went 5-1 last week. So it was looking good. History says it's okay in the playoffs. Like last year it was 500. The year before it was a tick over 500, I think. But the playoffs just get a little different with some of the regular season data becomes more noise.
Yeah. I was in an Irish bar a couple of days after Christmas in downtown Fort Worth, and I got like everybody there on model picks. I'm like, yeah, me and my buddy, it's like you don't have to listen to us. I'm like, sometimes we're good, sometimes we're not. But I was like, the model pretty consistently kills it, and they all followed. So
units this year, so
like, yeah, hopefully they want some money. And if they're listening, shout out to y'all. Had a good time. He owned the bar. He was a real nice guy. I would definitely shout out the bar if I could remember the name of it.
I wish I had the answer for you, Jay.
it's right next to Piano Bar in downtown Fort Worth. It's one right next to it. Big Irish bar. So you can't miss it if you're there. But yeah, let's get right into it for the annual Saturday afternoon game. Texans versus whoever they're playing. This year it's the Chargers. Have the Texans ever not played this spot?
I think every playoff game in their history has been in this spot, yes.
And that includes the Chiefs, 2020?
Yeah. Oh, you remember how much money we made on that game? You and I texting back and forth, just like live betting Chiefs the whole time.
Down 21. I think we got that money line at like plus 850 at one point.
Yeah, that was the first time where like it became the rule of you always live bet the Chiefs when they're trailing. Always do it.
And yeah, Texans fans were doing victory laps with Deshaun Watson. It was great, and the Chiefs just broke their heart. Used to be the Bengals spot, then they played the Bengals 2 years in a row and beat the Bengals 2 years in a row, so the Bengals lost that spot.
Yeah.
But we got Texans at home, 2.5 point spread here. Total 43.5.
It's actually down to 42.5, so I might switch that up here.
Getting down to 42.5.
Actually, I'm gonna leave it for now. I'll update the model.
We're gonna leave it for now. It's 43.5.
Because this isn't live updating the probability numbers, so I'll just leave it as is.
We are just moving lines over here at Shaving Points podcast. Model doesn't love it, but likes the Chargers at minus 2.5. When I first saw the lines, I immediately thought Chargers here, and the more I thought about it, I changed my mind. I'm taking the Texans. They have been underperforming all season. Chargers, I feel like, have been overperforming all season, but I feel like something's gonna click. They're gonna have that home playoff game. Arian Foster's gonna run them out on the field, and they're gonna be fired up. CJ Stroud's gonna play great. Nico Collins healthy?
Yeah, I think he's healthy. Did something change?
I think he's healthy. Yeah, Nico Collins is going to go out there and ball out, have a great game. They're going to get Joe Mixon going. Dameon Pierce might have fresh legs. I mean, he ran for a 98-yard touchdown in a meaningless game last week. So I think the Texans got some juice here. And at +3 at home, I know it's a Harbaugh-led team. I know the Chargers are going to be ready, but I think the Texans get it done here. I like them on the money line. I like them to move on. I think they're still a very talented team, and D'Amico Ryans going to get them up, and the boys are going to be juiced, ready to go.
So I'm riding with the model on all of its picks. I might throw in 1 or 2 in here.
I do like the under, but I'm not taking it.
I'm taking the under. I mean, I'm looking at 2 teams that have gone under more than they've gone over this year. I'm looking at 2 teams that are really hard-nosed, like the Texans, good defense. I think that D'Amico Ryan's going to have that defense up, ready to go for this game. I think they're going to be firing. I think they're going to be flying off the football. I think they're going to limit the Chargers at times. I think the Chargers are just going to play hard-nosed, mess them up football. Like just, Jim Harbaugh football that doesn't tend to be good for the overs. So I'm taking the under 43.5 on this. I see it like something like 20-17 or something like that.
Scott from Iowa likes Chargers alternate line 7.7. I'm assuming that meant 7.5. But if you get them at 7.7, you got to do it.
I mean, the model almost likes the Chargers minus 2.5 here. Like it's 80% is the tipping point where I say it's a bet. So it's right on the edge.
I saw it at 3. So Texans could lose by a field goal and I would win. So 2.5, I might lean the Chargers there. But at 3, I like the Texans to keep it close.
Yeah. At 2.5 is just a hard line for me to like. I kind of want to take the Texans, but I've been betting model
2.5. You're basically doing a pick 'em.
Yeah. So I'm just sticking with the under. I could see this game. Truly, I can see this game going either way. I can see Jim Harbaugh's guys squeaking by. I can see the Texans doing just enough on offense and that defense eating. Like if I'm going off talent, just what's on paper on the rosters, I think the Texans win this game. But it's just it's how much heart can Jim Harbaugh like pull out of his guys,
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Steelers Ravens, excuse me. Ravens 9.5-point favorites here, 44.5-point total. Well, this one is another one that I immediately like the Steelers. I was like, AFC North, they play them close. The Steelers have been playing bad football lately. I think the Ravens are in rhythm. And I think this is just who the Steelers are at this point. They're gonna play just good enough to win 8 to 11 games every year, but be no real threat come playoff time. And that's just kind of their identity until they find a solution at quarterback. I mean, I don't think at this point Russ is coming back next year. And the Ravens, I mean, Lamar's playing fantastic. Derrick Henry is awesome. Their defense, a little bit to be desired there, but that offense is absolutely insane right now. Mark Andrews is finally getting going, catching targets, getting some yards after catch. Yeah, I just think that don't think too hard about this one. Ravens are a better team, much better team. I'm laying the 9.5 with the Ravens here.
So, as the world's number one Ohio State fan, I have to ask, if you're Mike Tomlin, if you're Arthur Smith, are you throwing a changeup in this game with a heavy dose of Justin Fields and some wild rushing attack concepts? Because his legs are fresh.
See, if they were to do something like that, they could muck it up and win that game. If their defense can get back to playing at an elite level like they were earlier in the year. Sorry, my kid's screaming. Yeah, I think if their defense can step up and play like they were at the beginning of the year, and they can control the ball on offense, run the ball. I mean, that Ravens defense isn't great by any means. If they can get Justin Fields going, some read options, throwing it deep to George Pickens a couple of times, I definitely think they're live. But if they stick to Russ this entire game, I don't see it. But yeah, I mean, Justin Fields is the wild factor here. So
dare I say, the Steelers are fools if they don't do that.
What do you have to lose?
Right? Like, I mean,
Russ
you have
is
Arthur Smith,
right
who's
now.
an outstanding run concept coordinator, outstanding at drawing these things up, and you have one of the most dynamic rushing threats at backup quarterback in the NFL with fresh legs, and I cannot overstate that. Look it up. Every time Justin Fields came back from an injury, he busted runs for touchdowns, like 50 yards.
Yeah.
His legs being fresh is a huge factor. And to me, that's the ace up the Steelers' sleeve here. If they do something like that, I think they can pull an upset in this game. It's just a question whether they do that. The
Steelers
Steelers
already
are.
locked in the 6th pick for the trade. I believe Justin's in after the second drive of Russ doing nothing. Is that the Justin Fields trade, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
They didn't trade for Russ,
It's
did they?
a 6th-round pick instead of a 4th-round pick because of his snap.
Play time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think they got to do that. Like I have a lean towards the Steelers plus 9.5 here. I'm taking the over. Both these teams have gone over. Steelers have gone over 67% of their road games. Baltimore 75% of their home games. I mean, even
I wanted to
Baltimore
take the over here. I'm just worried about that Steelers offense. This is the only reason why I didn't take the over.
I think if they're struggling, they have some tricks up their sleeve with Justin
Yeah.
Fields. I think that's going to result in some points.
It is the playoffs.
I think this number is going to end up higher when you have as dynamic scoring threats as the Ravens have, and the Steelers with some tricks up their sleeve. Give me that over 44.5.
Also, people tend to punt less in playoffs, so over is usually a pretty good bet.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to not. It's easy to talk me into an over. So
Oh
I'll
my
probably
god!
ride that
Wait,
with you.
what would the Lamar haters say if Lamar Jackson lost to Justin Fields in the first round?
Oh, they would be out and about.
Like I don't think I'm not sitting here saying it's gonna happen. I think the Steelers have some tools here to muck this thing up, but like
I mean, he lost to
it's gonna get ugly.
He lost to the Ryan Tannehill Titans a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's gonna get ugly if he loses to the Justin Fields Steelers.
Ooh, yeah, they're 1-1 this year versus the Steelers. They already lost to the Justin Fields once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was it Justin Fields starting that game?
It was early in the season, so I think
it?
so. Wasn't it?
Let's see.
Like week 7 or something like that. Had to have been. I feel like Russ didn't come until late.
Week 11 and week 16. I think they're both Russ.
They might have both been Russ then.
Yeah, they lost 16-18 week 11.
I was thinking Fields played that game, but
that's what does scare me about this over, though. It's an AFC North divisional matchup. Like, I feel like those are always unders, but I'm taking the over. Both
the Ravens' offense is so good right now, and I mean, Steelers' defense has been giving up a lot. I mean, they held Joe Burrow pretty well, so we'll see. I mean, that Bengals offense is pretty hard to stop, and they did a good job that game. So
yeah,
we'll see. Next up, oh man, I hate that I'm doing this. Broncos, Bills got 8.5 point spread. Bills are favored at home, 47.5 on the total. I'm taking Denver here. I got them plus 9.5, so point difference here. But I don't love it. I don't don't like this Broncos team, but they just get the job done. They play great defense. Bo Nix doesn't have to do a whole lot. Sean Payton's in his bag right now. I think they can keep it close.
I think I'm with you. Or I mean, wait. Are you? You said you're taking Denver?
Yeah, plus 9.5.
I think I'm taking Buffalo.
See, I want to take Buffalo. It won't be hard to talk me out of this.
I'm pretty sure just because rookie quarterbacks don't have a good track record, especially when I don't trust Bo Nix.
Is Bo Nix a rookie quarterback though? He's like 43.
A rookie's a rookie, man. If Michael Penix is a rookie, Bo Nix is a rookie.
Well, Michael Penix isn't in the playoffs.
True. But I'm taking Bills minus 8.5. The model isn't saying that. The model's saying stay away from everything.
What if it was 9.5?
Taking it.
You know what? Fuck it. Give me Bills.
I just think the Bills are gonna just be fucking people up this playoffs or at least this first round until they get to some of the big boy teams. Like,
I'll switch.
And I think that Bo Nix is gonna have some struggles in a playoff game. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but like, I don't know. I think going to Buffalo in a playoff environment, that's a tall task for a rookie. It's a tall task for anyone.
I just switched on the sheet. I'm with you.
All right.
I got it 9.5. Can I get 8.5 since
yeah, that's why it's at FanDuel. So
cool.
I'll give it to you at 8.5.
Perfect. We're good to go there. Yeah, the Bills, I mean, they're a wagon right now. James Cook, what do you have? 17 touchdowns this year. Just running the
Also,
ball great, finding the
like
end zone.
the Bills' defense is built to feast on bad quarterbacks. I feel like that's what, like, not to say Bo Nix is a bad quarterback, but he's certainly not a good one. You know, like,
Von
so
Miller
I think
revenge
there's a
game.
Von Miller revenge game. Yes. Von Miller revenge game. Von Miller is going to, he's going to steal Bo Nix's lunch money. There's your take for this game.
I mean, he shows up big time in the playoffs, so seen it happen before, even in his old age. He'll be out there with his walker getting by him. He'll be fine.
All right, we moving on?
Yeah, moving on. Okay. We got Packers, Eagles, Eagles at home. Eagles 4.5-point favorites here. 46.5-point total. Model loves Green Bay here. I'm taking Green Bay here plus 4.5. I want both of these teams to lose, but I'd rather see the Eagles lose because I don't think the Packers can go all the way. If both of these teams lose, I'll be fine with any team winning the Super Bowl, and that includes the Commies. So, yeah, let's just hope they both lose, but for now, let's hope the Packers win.
So I cannot hope the Packers win. I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'll tell you what, I would love to see a Super Bowl parade in this city in first person. Just
It'd
like
be so
be there
gross and disgusting.
for the wreckage.
So
And
greasy.
I'll be climbing the grease light poles.
Ugh. Ugh.
I'm here for it, man. But so I don't
Disgusting.
hope the Packers win. I think the Packers do cover this number. Jalen Hurts is still, there's still some questions about concussion
He's
protocol
still in
with him. That's a
concussion protocol.
big deal. Even like, I mean,
Luckily, they play on Sunday.
yeah, it's bizarre, and maybe it's all showmanship. Maybe maybe it's there's not showing their hand or something. But like,
I don't think they have a choice in that. It's third party, isn't it?
I
Like,
think so. Well, so there's concussion protocol can get weird. It can get weird with that because like you can be back to partial activities, but still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So like I remember with the Bears, Roshan Johnson was like he was back at practice, but he was still in concussion protocol. So it was like it's this weird gray area. So I'm not sure if that's what's happening with Hurts or not, but I got to tread lightly here because that's a big deal.
Yeah. Watson and Love both hurt. Eagles win by 2 TDs. Barkley runs for 150. It's going to be a lot of Saquon Barkley in these playoffs, I think, if the Eagles want a true run at it, which is, I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, he's carried them all season. But let's just hope Philadelphia loses sooner rather than later for my mental health.
And Scott, I love the optimism about the Packers just getting killed, but Matt LaFleur is still Matt LaFleur, man.
I hate both of these teams.
Matt LaFleur just finds ways to be competitive. I'm not sure how much was real last week from the Packers. Like, a part of me wonders if they just kind of packed it in after Jordan Love got hurt and said, okay, we're not doing that much this week. Not to take anything away from the Bears' victory, but like
they should have lost.
I don't know how real
that
was. They should have, yeah.
So
but
maybe the Bears just got their number.
Is still Matt LaFleur until I see him blow a game in the playoffs. Like, this is a guy who every time I've seen him in the playoffs, it feels like, or at least post Rodgers just last year, but it was like this team was overperforming at a wild level because of the coach that they had.
Yeah, they probably should have made this, or I don't know what would have happened in that Lions game, but they should have beat the 49ers last year. And then who knows what would have happened.
Jordan Love was awful in that game, but like they just kept finding ways to stay in it. Like it was wit. It's dark magic. You know, that's
it really
what the Packers do.
It's disgusting. But yeah, I got the Packers here at 4.5. I'll probably sprinkle the money line too.
Yeah, I'm taking Packers plus 4.5 just because it feels like it's what the Packers do.
All right, next up we have the Washington Commanders going to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 3-point favorites at home, 50.5-point total here. I am taking the Buccaneers here. I love the way Buccaneers are playing right now. McMillan, is that their rookie, correct? Mm-hmm. Wide receiver,
yeah.
Playing great down the stretch. Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. Bucky Irving playing out of his mind. Great pickup for them for the rookie. And I think this defense can give the Commanders problems. Commanders center, Tyler Biotish is hurt. What a surprise. Never saw that coming as a Cowboys fan.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Surprise, he's hurt.
Yeah, so good luck blocking Vita Vea. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that with a starting center, much less a backup center. So, yeah, you have that coming at Jaden Daniels. I don't know what's going on with the Commanders' run game down the stretch. Like, they've been playing good ball. They've been winning games, but early in the season, I felt like they were having their most success getting Brian Robinson touches, getting them going. And down the stretch, I mean, Jaden Daniels started playing better, started throwing the ball better, but they've lost all semblance of a run. I
think he's been pretty pedestrian since that rib injury he had.
Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, like he had the big comeback game. So I guess I'm forgetting about that. He had the game where he had like 5 touchdowns in the comeback after falling back.
Finding ways to get it done is probably the better way to put it. But yeah, I mean, they have no semblance of a run game at all. I think the Buccaneers, I think they play their best in big games. I mean, they played the Chiefs extremely close. They beat the Lions. Didn't they beat the Eagles as well week 1? Or early in the season. But they play their best in big games, and I think they get up for this. I think they cover this number easily. Great story for the Commanders. Thank you to the Commanders for getting us from 14 to 11 in the draft. Really appreciate y'all for that. Dan Quinn coming through for the Cowboys one last time and then letting his team down in the first round of the playoffs is about accurate. I think Baker dices them up for about 375 and 4 tutties.
So here's the big difference in Jaden Daniels' first half.
I also have the over in this game.
First half versus second half of the year. His passing numbers are pretty similar and pretty solid, but the sack numbers. First 9 games, he took 17 sacks. Last 8 games, he's taken 30 sacks. So he's taking a lot more sacks now, which doesn't always reflect well in the passing stats that you see, you know. So I think Tampa's a team that is going to be able to get him on the ground and to really make him kind of hesitate a little in the pocket. We saw them do it week 1. It was week 1, his first NFL action. That does matter. But he had a tough time against them in that game. Like, it was not a good game from him by any means, where they lost, what was it, 37-20. I think there is something like they fell behind 13-0 before scoring. We're down like 30-14. I think Todd Bowles has some surprises for Jaden Daniels in this game. And again, it's rookie quarterbacks. I'm taking Tampa minus the 3.
Yeah, I love Baker in this game if you're a player props guy. And I like Bucky Irving. So I think they get it done. I think they dice them up. And I don't know if it'll be a shootout, but I think the Bucs score a lot of points. So
yeah, I mean, and for what it's worth, the model has a strong lead towards Washington and a lean towards the over. I kind of like that over, but I'm going to avoid that for now. All right, moving on along.
All right, we got Vikings, Rams. Rams are 1.5 point favorites at home. 47.5 point total here. Model loves Minnesota minus 1.5. Or Rams are plus 1.5. Excuse me. Model loves Minnesota at minus 1.5 and has a lean towards the under. I'm not taking the model here. I'm taking the Rams. Sean McVay in the playoffs. Matt Stafford in the playoffs. I think the moment's going to be too big for Sam Darnold. We saw that a little bit last week. Missing open guys. And I like this Vikings team. I think you have to keep Sam Darnold moving on. But give me the Rams. I think they find a way to get it done here. I don't think home field advantage matters too much here, but it's nice that they're not having to go to Minnesota for sure. but Minnesota going across the country. Rams have all the experience. Puka Nacua is playing great, especially later half of the season. I think he's averaging like 13 targets a game is what I saw. Could be wrong, but force feeding him the ball. Kyron Williams finds his way to the end zone more often than not, it seems like. So I think the Rams muck it up. That defense is playing good. Both their rookies on the D-line playing fantastic. I think the Rams get it done here. What do you think?
Sean McVay versus Kevin O'Connell. Mentor versus mentee. What did I say about Matt Stafford when we did our QB tiering?
I can't. He's good. Hall of Famer?
After Pat Mahomes, there's not a quarterback I'm more scared of in the playoffs than Matt Stafford.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nothing's going to phase this guy.
Yeah,
he's seen it all. Brian Flores can throw anything he wants at him. I feel like Matt Stafford is going to come through and find ways to make plays regardless because that's just what he does. This team beat the Vikings 30-20 in week 8.
Yep.
When they were very injured.
Very injured, yeah. And yeah, I think the Vikings are a well-coached team. They can beat bad teams with ease, which kind of led to their record. They don't have an issue, but whenever they come against a more talented quarterback, they struggle, and when they can't bully people around, they struggle. And I don't think they're going to be able to bully around the Rams. And maybe Justin Jefferson gets going, maybe Jordan Addison gets going, maybe Aaron Jones gets going, but I just don't see it.
Here's my thing with the Vikings. Like, it's not even about the quarterback to me. It's about the coaches. You need to be able to outplay their coaches in the chess match. And I think Sean McVay is one of the few guys who I really trust to do that because they are very good at this. And Justin Jefferson turns chess into checkers for Kevin O'Connell, right? Like your defense needs to declare what it's doing so much more often. And that's part of what worked for the Lions this past week. The Lions didn't declare shit. They just said, we're playing man coverage, beat it.
Yeah.
And we're coming after you and we're going to hit you.
Yeah.
Now, do the Rams have anyone who I really trust in man coverage against Justin Jefferson? No, but I didn't trust what was his name? No, it wasn't Brian Branch.
Arnold?
No, it wasn't Terry and Arnold. It was who was it?
Oh, was it
I loved him coming out of college. He's like 5'8". He's tiny, but he's been playing against Justin Jefferson since high school. Like,
yeah.
What's his name? Hang on, I've got it here. It's Amik Robertson. I didn't think Amik Robertson could man up Justin Jefferson like that, and he just did it. Now, Grant, he's been playing Justin Jefferson since high school. Played him in high school, played him in college, playing him in the NFL now. He knows the guy in and out.
Sam Darnold did miss a couple of throws in that game too, but I don't think.
Well, I think if you hit Darnold enough in the process, you can live with a few big plays from Jettas. Like, I'm not saying to copy the Lions game plan, but learn from it. Because if you copy it, Vikings are going to have answers for that. But I trust the Rams coaching infrastructure to look at that and learn from it this is a bit of a blueprint here. We can't copy it word for word, but I think that there is a blueprint out there now that you can adjust off of, and you can make some minor waves in to make it really work. And so, give me Rams money line here. I'm going against the model. Model likes the Rams or likes the Vikings -1.5.
I got Rams money line as well. Scott's saying that the script is in. I would have liked if in a world where the script exists, I would have liked to see the Lions be going to Detroit or going to the Rams in this game, since the Rams went to Detroit last year. But yeah, we might see that.
Dude, how far can the Rams go?
If they avoid the Lions, they can go to the NFC Championship game.
I mean, I think they might beat the Lions. I think they have a recipe to potentially beat the Lions.
Well, so if the Rams win, then if Rams, Bucks, Eagles win, it'll be Rams Lions next week. But if Packers or Washington wins, then they'll avoid the Lions until the NFC Championship game. I don't think anybody's beating this Lions team. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl.
See, I just have so many questions on that defense. Like they played a beautiful game against the Vikings.
I just think that offense. We'll get into that next week, but I just don't see how you beat the Lions.
I guess so. I'm not saying that they're gonna lose. I'm just like I think they're vulnerable, more vulnerable than they were this time last year.
They're very injured, but they just have like Team of Destiny vibes. Jameer Gibbs is playing out of his mind.
I kind of
Jameson really Williams is running all over the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown's still good. They still have their own line. Jared Goff is slinging it. Teddy Bridgewater's on the sidelines. Like,
I mean, you want to talk about get right at the hot time, or get hot at the right time? I think that might be the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. The Rams might be the scariest team that nobody's talking about right now. But to me, it's the Lions conference to lose right now. Which, I mean, bold statement coming from a 15-2 team. But I mean, I would not be surprised if the Rams make a run. Don't get me wrong, but
So I guess basically what I'm saying is aside from like the top 2 seeds in the NFC, the team I would bet on is the Rams.
I think they can beat the Eagles. So for me, if you take out the Eagles and the Lions, I would take Bucks over the Rams, but it's close.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
I just think the way Baker's playing right now, Baker, he's got that swag to him.
So, and here's why I like the Rams going to Detroit more than the Rams going to Philly, because I want to see that Matt Stafford juice of being back in Detroit and the juice of having lost by 1 point in a game that they were inches away from winning last year in the division.
And the way he was treated, his family was all upset. They thought
I think that extra juice goes a little further in Detroit than it does Philly.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it. I could see it for sure. Hoping that the Packers win so we can maybe get that NFC Championship game. But if it's next week, it's next week. So
I respect your hate for the Eagles to root for the Packers to win this week. I respect it.
I hate both of them so much.
I know you do. I know it's the hardest conversation you'll have to have all year.
But all right, so let's get into some college football. We have the best team in the entire country, the Ohio State Buckeyes, taking on the Texas Longhorns in the Cotton Bowl and AT&T Stadium. And people say Dallas can't host a playoff game. Y'all are crazy.
So I just realized I've got these backwards.
Ohio State is favored in this game by 5.5.
5.5
at the Cotton Bowl, total of 53.5. I'm taking Ohio State in this game to roll. Jeremiah Smith would be a top 10 receiver in the league right now, and he's 19 years old. They're playing like they should have played all year. I don't know where this team was all year. They finally woke up after that Michigan loss. The Michigan loss might be the best thing for them. And if you're an Ohio State fan, you have to live the rest of your life knowing you won a national championship but couldn't beat Michigan in the same year. That sucks, but you will win a national championship, so that's good. So good for you, Ohio State. I think they absolutely roll this game. I'm taking over 53.5, and it might be Ohio State scoring 55 points. I know this Texas defense is good. They got ran through by a slow white dude from Arizona State that couldn't do shit against Texas Tech. So is that defense good? I don't know. So Ohio State's going to absolutely roll this, though. I mean, I'll say it's going to be 42-17.
The Ohio State University minus 5.5. I like it. I mean, Texas looked like the Texas that you and I know and love from our Texas Tech days of like, oh, they rolled over, they dropped the ball, like
Yeah, and
they looked like the same old
if you look at
Texas
that
that you're
Arizona
never
State
scared
game,
of.
you look at that Arizona State game, and they hit a big play early, and they returned to punt. If it wasn't for those two plays, they lose pretty handily to ASU. At one point in the game, Scattaboo had like 234 all-purpose yards to like Texas's like 108, and 75 of those 108 came on the very first drive. I mean, they could not do anything against that Arizona State defense, which wasn't very good. So, yeah.
And Ohio State's D-line, monsters.
I mean, that entire Ohio State defense is good. The only thing I have questions about is Will Howard, but I mean, he beat Texas plenty of times at Kansas State. He's not scared of this game. And if that's your weakest link, they're not going to have any issues in this game, I don't think.
I mean, this looks like the Ohio State I was expecting last year when I was so high on them coming into the year, which, biased, number one Ohio State fan on the face of the earth. But, like, I thought this was what we were going to see from them last year. And then the quarterback was just, like, below the level of Will Howard even. But, like, right now, they look incredible. They look outstanding.
Imagine a Justin Fields or a CJ Stroud in this team.
Oh, man. It would be unreal. It would be utterly unreal. But
it's crazy.
Question for you. How quick is the hook on Quinn Ewers if he's not good?
Oh, immediately. So my whole thing all year, I'm surprised we didn't see it in the Arizona State game. I think getting the early lead, and they thought they could nurse that early lead throughout the game. And I mean, they did. I mean, they had a 16-point lead with 5 minutes left in the game. Offense wasn't doing anything. And my whole argument all year about the Quinn Arch thing was Sarkisian didn't want to set the precedent that he's going to be pulling guys for the next guy up, because I'm sure they're going to have another 5-star behind Arch. And then if Arch doesn't play well, if he pulls the trigger there, then that could disincentivize. I mean, it's just not a good look if you're always looking over your shoulder over the next guy. It proves loyalty. It proves that if you're going to go play quarterback for Steve Sarkisian, when your time has come, you're going to get every opportunity to prove that you're the guy. So I think that was the precedent that was being set, that if you're my guy, you're my guy. We're not going to – but it's all or nothing at this point. You know who your future is. You know Ewers isn't coming back next year, whether he goes to the NFL or transfers. So I think the leash is very, very short. But does that matter? I don't think so.
That was going to be my next question. As an Ohio State lifelong fan, how much should Arch Manning scare me if he comes in the game?
Yeah, none. I mean,
none.
Quinn Ewers, probably a better passer at this point in their careers, but Arch can run the ball, but I wouldn't be nervous if I was an Ohio State fan if Arch comes in. But you never know. I mean, team gets juiced up, new blood in there. It could change the whole vibe. But if they do it, they better do it early, because I wouldn't be surprised if this is 17-0 in the first quarter in the blink of an eye. So if they don't pull the trigger early, it could be way too late for it. So
all right, well, you heard it here from the number one Ohio State fan on planet Earth. Ohio State minus 5.5. And I might sprinkle that over with you too, Jay.
Yeah, I think Ohio State puts up 40. So that's you're betting on 14 points out of Texas, in my opinion.
All right. And I need you to take the lead on this one for a moment while I do something really quick.
Yep. So we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State is 1.5 point favorites here, 45.5 point total. Notre Dame is playing incredible football after their loss to Northern Illinois. Their offensive line is playing at some of the best offensive line play I've seen in a long time. Their defense is absolutely incredible. Riley Leonard isn't great at quarterback, but they have been getting it done. They've been bullying teams, but this Penn State team is finally clicking on all cylinders. I like Penn State in this game. I think we're going to get Penn State Ohio State rematch. If you forgot, Penn State had a double-digit lead versus this Ohio State team earlier in the season. I think it's going to be a fantastic national championship, and Mr. Q is going to be in quite the mental conundrum over there of being the number one Ohio State fan in the world,
Oh,
while
no, screw that
also
guy. Who was that guy?
while also being the number one Penn State Nittany Lion fan in the world.
Biggest Penn State fan on planet Earth. I was at that game. I was at Ohio State, Penn State round 1, and it was infuriating. It was like James Franklin, James Franklin. What were you doing that whole game? It was awful.
Big game James, they call him. Jimothy Franklin is what they say in big games. That's the only. James Franklin hasn't had to play a big game since then. I mean, I guess you could call the Oregon game a big game, but now that you saw the seeding, is like, well, you kind of got the better end of that deal, losing to Oregon in the Big Ten championship. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think Penn State's the better team. I think Penn State should win. The only thing that scares me in this matchup is James Franklin. Notre Dame, Ohio State will be a great national championship. Ohio State, Penn State will be a great national championship. So I'm excited for it either way.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see. I kind of think Penn State should be favored in this game, just because I think that with the way Drew Allar has been playing,
he's been slinging
I trust it a lot more than I trust Riley Leonard. Like I'd never really seen it with him. But I see it in moments with Drew Allar, and he seems to be playing really confident football.
With the way Drew Allar's playing right now, you think he's regretting kind of pulling the trigger a little early, saying I'm coming back no matter what? Because I mean, if he goes out there and balls versus Notre Dame, and he goes out there and balls versus
he'll be QB1.
Ohio State,
he'll be QB1.
And then does he all of a sudden say, "Well, maybe I am gonna declare for the draft"? And then their 5-star quarterback that they had right behind him that transferred before the college football playoffs even started is also gone. Like I don't get that from Aller. I mean, why are we saying we're coming back? Because if you go on a monster playoff run like you have started, and then all of a sudden you got people being like, "Oh, you're a top 3 pick right now." And if you wait another year, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. But next year's quarterback class definitely looks much more skilled, much more competitive. Maybe you just go ahead and take your chances this year.
I think, if he balls out in this game and in the Natty, I think he flips it. I think he should flip it and say, never mind, I'm going to the NFL because I'm going to be the number 1 pick. Like,
yeah, I mean, I agree because I mean, you're looking at it right now. Cam Ward, they're both solid, but you put up great
NFL scouts
numbers.
have been salivating over Allar for 2 years already, just for the arm talent. It was just a matter of it coming together.
Yeah, and no matter what, I mean, if Texas somehow wins, if Ohio State wins, and they beat Notre Dame, you're talking Notre Dame's probably I don't know the actual numbers, top 10 defense. Texas, Ohio State both have top 5 defenses. I mean, you're going to have to play the best of the best. And if he goes out there and balls out, and they got the weapons for it, we know that. I think he's clear cut top 5 pick at that point.
But I do have to say, or I do have to ask, do you think Drew Allar balls out against this Notre Dame defense?
I don't know.
I have hesitations.
With the weapons they have, I mean, Penn State's hard to defend if they get the right play calling. They're hard to defend. I mean, they have 2 of the best tight ends in the country. They have 2 of the best running backs in the country, and they have a quarterback with some of the best arm talent in the country. The thing that's held them back in big games is turtling up and playing like a bunch of pussies, honestly. So, I mean, if they just go out there and let it rip and they get them in rhythm, I 100% think he can tear them up. But if they turtle up in their shell and start playing scared football, and then the only time you're really letting them air it out is on desperation plays, then probably not. But they need to go out there. They need to be aggressive. They need to run the ball well, which they certainly should be able to. Our friend Scott doesn't like Penn State. I'm seeing,
No.
but yeah, I think Penn State should win this game. But this Notre Dame team is probably the most underrated team in the country.
I'll tell you what scares me is with Alar, Notre Dame's going to be pulling out like coverages that he's never seen before.
Yeah, Notre
Marcus
Dame
Freeman has that defense playing some of the most disciplined, best coverage football in college football. So, you're gonna have to win on the ground, I think.
Yeah,
because it's going to be hard to throw the football. Like, I mean, I think back to like the Caleb Williams Notre Dame game last year. He was pulling out all these NFL concepts on them, and his guys were executing them.
Yeah. No, I think Penn State gets it done, but I'm not sleeping on Notre Dame one bit. But I am taking Penn State.
I think I'm taking Penn State too, but like that's just it in the little back of my head. It's like that defense might just fuck Drew Alar up.
Yeah, and yeah, the Notre Dame defense, what they did to SMU, I mean, that was just mean.
Yeah,
and SMU wasn't a bad team. Everybody, like, I know we haven't really talked since college football playoff started. SMU wasn't a bad team, and they just got boat raced. I mean, 2 pick sixes back to back. I mean, just got destroyed. So yeah.
I mean, I hope we see Ohio State, Penn State natty.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah,
I think it's going to be like probably one of the most boring natties ever until like the last 2 minutes, kind of the way the previous game was. But
yeah, I don't know the way Ohio State's playing right now. I think everybody's Notre Dame, Penn State are just playing for a college football championship appearance right now, and Texas is just happy to be there.
Let me ask you this: was Oregon just overrated?
I think so, a little bit. They only won by 3 at home to a Boise State team led by Genty, who ran for 247 and 3 touchdowns against them. They skated by underperforming Ohio State team earlier in the season by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Struggled
without that in that game. Josh Simmons got hurt. Their left tackle, who's going in the first round, might be the best offensive lineman in this draft, got hurt in the first half, and they had to play the rest. Like, they had to figure it out on the fly. Later in the season, they moved their left guard to left tackle, but their second string left tackle was playing that game and struggling.
Yeah. But to be fair, I mean, I think they weren't really. They were definitely overrated, but not overrated to the point where the final score justified what they were as a team. I just think this Ohio State team, playing at their full potential, which they're doing right now, I think they would do that to anybody in the country. I thought Tennessee was going to make a run. I mean, they did the same thing to them. I just think Ohio State's inevitable at this point if they continue to play like they're playing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, the way that
I would have liked to see Oregon play somebody else. Just the way to see.
So, I mean, they beat Ohio State. That was it. Like, I almost wonder how much of their record might also be a result of all these Midwest teams having to go there for the first time. I mean, that works both ways, but like, you know, their away games, they went to Purdue, to Michigan, which is not the same Michigan, and to Wisconsin. Like, it's not like, and they only won 16-13 at Wisconsin. So but they had Ohio State going all the way to Oregon. They had Penn State on a neutral site, and they barely beat Penn State.
Yeah.
It's not. So I
I
wonder
think they were
how
a
much
solid
is just-
team.
Yeah.
I don't think they were the best team in the country. They were undefeated. Any other year, they probably would have won the national
They
championship
lost one,
because
didn't they?
no, their first loss was Ohio State. But any other year, they probably win the national championship because Ohio State doesn't make the playoff.
Oh, yeah, the record I'm looking at includes Ohio
In
State.
a 4-team playoff, if they would have put Notre Dame in, I think Notre Dame wins the national championship because Ohio State wouldn't have been in, Penn State wouldn't have been in. You would have got probably Georgia, Oregon, Notre Dame, I guess maybe Penn State at that point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it would have gotten really funky. A lot of
yeah.
people would have been angry. Let's just put it that way.
Probably Texas, Oregon, Notre Dame. Oregon is probably what it would have been. And I think Oregon or Notre Dame wins that easily. So sucks for Oregon. I mean, every time they get there, they just lose. So, but yeah, I don't think they were necessarily overrated, but definitely, I don't think they were the best team in the country.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
All right. Well, is there anything else we want to talk through before we wrap this thing up?
I think that'll be it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, listening, commenting, bearing with us through that Ohio State fan who was god awful. And I mean, I was gonna say don't sleep in the Cardinals, but they don't play another game for like 9 months. So
yeah, we'll have a new team come next season.
Don't sleep on them Rams.
Yeah, or Bucks.
We
can sleep on the commies though.
Always sleep on the commies.
Adios.
Later.
That's how we've won all year, team, right? Yes, you held them to 20 points, man. Yes, you gave us a chance at the end. I got 3 words for you. You like that? Yeah!